Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Burning Roar podcast. I'm Jake Scarborough, joined by my co-hosts Tyler McIntosh, Fidel Fabian, and Tim Olson. How you guys doing today?
Pretty swell.
Good.
Well, the order will go in, obviously, with the topics: Tyler, Fabian, Tim, and then myself, as usual. Missing a few people. We don't have Stott, Sal, Connor, so this is a weird group.
Sag.
This is different. But nevertheless, there is quite a lot to talk about, should I say. We had our interview with Tyler Severa, uh, that got posted Monday, I believe. With that, there is the announcement that me and Stotts did get the privilege to interview Raja Karuth. That will be uploaded this Friday morning at 12 p.m. Eastern. So that's something to look out for on Friday. Nevertheless, with Atlanta for NASCAR, obviously this is the third time NASCAR's gone there with the new reconfiguration. That is practically a plate track on drugs. So, with that being said, to kick it off with the Truck Series race, Tyler, your go.
There was a lot in the truck race. It was a wreck fest, which I think I'm going to be honest. Out of the weekend, I think it was the worst one, in my opinion. As far as the finish was okay, but there was way too much going on. I feel like you had people that were kind of driving way in over their heads, and this new Atlanta, I don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I was cool with it last year because it was something different. They ruined it. I want old Atlanta back. Just pick it up, take it, bring it back. Christian Eckes winning was a W. Because I think there's something I can't remember the history behind it, but Ben McAnally in the Napa car, so that was cool. But other than that, pretty forgettable.
Yeah, the truck race was severely forgettable. I almost forgot who won the truck race until I remembered, Christian Eckes in the 19. But the only thing I remember is that Nick Sanchez had a chance at winning. And that was just the entire wreck fest. Not much to talk about.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing that did kind of piss me off, I don't know if it really would have changed the result, but just the throwing the cautions like when they're that close to the line, like going through 3 and 4, is that really? They'll have enough time to slow down before they get to traffic. I just think it's a little unnecessary. They're trying to make it too artificial.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable. As you guys kind of all mentioned, the truck race was just a wreck fest. That seems just to be the Truck Series way of the past 2 years. So it's sad that that's kind of what the Truck Series has gone on to, because if you rewind like 4 years ago, it seemed to be one of the better performances out of the top three. So now just seeing, you've got like five guys that are kind of just held back by the equipment they're in, and then the rest of the field basically being there because of money. It's just it's sad. I don't think the Truck Series is a development series, but that's a story for the other time for another time. But the race itself, yeah, just wreckfest. Sucks to see Nick Sanchez. He's gotten so close, it seems, this season to getting a win. We saw Vegas; he was good. Daytona, he was up front as well, and then now, Atlanta up front, involved in that last lap crash. It just sucks to see for him. Cool to see for Christian Eckes and Bill McAnally to get that win, but it's tearing to see that some of the actual younger talent that's trying to move up still, and it's obviously with Nick, it's his rookie season. It just sucks to see.
I mean, I'd argue that Christian Eckes is still like.
Well, yeah, he's a young developing talent. I'm just saying, like in.
No.
Oh, there goes the poster. Oh no. Oh no. Anyways.
Oh.
But I mean, yeah, no. Christian Eckes is definitely a developing talent. I just think it sucks in terms of a rookie driver that got out of the gates as quick as Nick did this season, because I don't think really anyone expected that, especially this is Rev Racing's first, because he is under Rev, right? Not GMS. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is their first year in trucks now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first year truck team, first year driver. That's a crazy combination to see doing what they are so far. So hopefully they get something done in the end. But moving forward with the Xfinity race, which kind of in the same boat as the Truck Series race, in my opinion. But Tyler, we'll let you take the floor with that one.
I'm not gonna lie. I was in the middle of fixing my sleep schedule, so I didn't watch this one. I know there was nothing really exciting. Obviously, there was nothing worth mentioning yet. I will say there was one move at the end that I wasn't a big fan of. I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna say where. But you know, I called it. Austin Hill with a win. I don't know what it. You go to a plate track, it's an Austin Hill win or an RCR win at this point. 'Cause Sheldon's knocking on the door. Sheldon's coming.
Yeah.
But I feel like Austin Hill with a plate race, he's got a 75% chance. The 25 is the field. Interesting finish for that, but I really didn't watch this one. So
Yeah, Xfinity race, as Ty said, same boat as the truck race, except for one incident with Josh Williams. What happened was under yellow, he had a bit of bear bond on the car, and since it was a bit chilly at Atlanta that day, it fell off, which caused NASCAR to issue out a penalty to Josh, which basically meant he's parked for the day due to extending the caution, which Josh retaliated / protested with parking the car on the start finish line, gaining him, I think, an entire fan base from the NASCAR community. He walked out of the car, ran across pit road into right behind the pit boxes, and was talked down to like a 5-year-old by the NASCAR officials. But for the rest of the race, as usual, Austin Hill winning a plate track.
Yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that. I mean, he did park it. You gotta be real. Daniel Hemrick, come on, man.
yeah,
Come on, buddy. We love you. We all love you so much. We met you. Come on, man.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah, because you're a loser, Fabian.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, so hold on. I don't like this category I'm being put into. I didn't do it either.
Yeah, you're a loser, Tyler. Anyways, L.
This is a me and Jake segment. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That was disappointing, but I mean, you got second. A little unnecessary way to get. You got second. Yeah, Austin Hill won. Who would have thought? Except everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Williams is an absolute freaking baller. Love that. And I hope it doesn't come back to bite him in the ass too hard, because I hope that gaining a stellar fan base, maybe not in the best way, like professionally, but maybe some sponsor would be like, that's cool. And throw some money at him. I hope that happens.
I mean, fair enough. I'm kind of in the same boat. I love what he did. I thought that was the ultimate bird to NASCAR. NASCAR kind of deserves it with the rate they're heading. They've had multiple drivers like the past 2 years call them out, and now that you're getting more and more starting to push the limits of what they can do and kind of just saying, well, I don't care what you do, it says a lot. But as far as the actual quality of the Xfinity race, I wasn't impressed. I thought it kind of was similar to the Truck Series race. There was just nothing really going on besides wrecks, it seemed, besides like the late end. The Hemrick thing, touchy subject as a Hemrick fan. I've always been a fan of him because backflip, Carl Edwards fan growing up. So I don't know. I feel I can't say I approve of it because I don't like crashes. I kind of said that last week. I don't like crashes in motorsports. But when people look back at the Brian Vickers thing, where he dumped Junior and what was it, Johnson at Dega, you know that's what he was going for, and that move is considered like memorable. It's like a top 10 move of all time, no matter what it did. Like people like look at that as a part of history. And I think that's what he was trying to do. That's obviously what he was trying to do. it just didn't work out.
Oh, well.
I hate that it didn't work, but at the same time, I hate that he even tried it. But I guess the guy wanted to do a backflip on a bum knee right now, so not sure how that would have worked out. But I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the move, but I mean, kudos for trying. Kudos for trying to replicate history. But Austin Hill winning, yeah, that seems like Austin Hill's kind of just the plate track guy now because colleague, after having the strongest plate track program as like the past year, has kind of slipped slowly away, and now having AJ in Cup, that doesn't help one bit. And then didn't Justin Haley have an issue or something at the very end? So I don't know. That late race caution's kind of what did it. But yeah, I mean, not much to talk about from that other than the Josh Williams thing. The Cup race though was a completely different story. So Tyler?
Yeah, I was very impressed with the Cup race. I think we kind of saw a lot going on. Penske was on it. I think they had the 3 fastest cars all day. Other than Brad Keselowski, I'm going to be honest with you, I was not a big fan of Brad Keselowski, being a Kyle Busch fan for a while, but he's changed a lot in my book, and I found myself pulling for him here lately. I obviously picked him, which I would have loved for that to go well, but it didn't. Another driver that really impressed me, which it's not really a shock at plate races for Corey LaJoie to be at the front, but it's his career best finish in 4th. Old Super Shoes. I'm really enjoying watching the 7 team run good. They've ran top 16, top 15 almost every single week so far. So I'm starting to enjoy watching what they do as far as their growth. I feel like they're getting close to breaking through to what they need to be to do, or what they need to do to be in the playoffs. So if Corey can ride this out, keep doing what he's doing, I'm a big fan of it. But overall, the finish for the Cup race was exciting. I think we kind of saw what we wanted to see with a normal plate race, somebody having a shot at the end, a lot of blocking, a lot of passing. So I think that was probably one of my favorite race on the new Atlanta. Still wish Sheldon was back though.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with Ty. I feel like me missing that flight the same day Kurt Busch won the last original version of Atlanta really cursed the racetrack, because ever since then it's just been either a snoozer or a shit show snoozer. But yeah, I mean, Penske, they had it done at Atlanta that entire day. Obviously, qualifying 1, 2, 3 the day before, Logano basically leading the most laps and him stealing it on the last lap from Keselowski. Tim, what's so funny?
Was it a shit show or was it a good race?
Yeah.
You said you
Both.
agreed, and then you said it was a shit show, and it's like, what is going on?
There are some shit shows and there's some other.
Which one was it?
What was this race?
Somewhat in the middle.
Then say that.
You're like, oh yeah, dude, this race
Like
was-
me and Tim kind of instantly picked up on that. Like, wait, what?
And then I realized, because I played it in my head, I'm like, hold on. And then I see Tim laughing and you laughing. I'm like, I can't do it anymore.
I'm glad it wasn't just me. Anyway,
Proceed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Atlanta will now, the modern version of Atlanta will be a very interesting racetrack from here on out, especially since the track is now wearing out a lot. So it might be a very bumpy road, no pun intended, for Atlanta in the future. But on to you, Tim.
How's it? I no comment.
well, I'm gonna throw the headset on to make sure I heard that right.
Oh no! What's going on here?
He's got to confirm. Hold on.
He's what is? Oh no! Oh no!
It's not
Oh,
even-
it's very echoey.
Anyway, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think you are, but anyway, it was a pretty good race. Like, I mean, it was about what you expect from a plate race. Like, it wasn't, except maybe not as many like wrecks. Like, it wasn't a horrible wreck fest. It was just average. There was nothing to complain about, really. Logano easily deserved that.
I don't. Why did these things? I
Nice. All right. No, Logano dominated. He deserved the win. I would have loved to have seen Brad win because he deserves. He's fifth in like
Chet,
regular
knock it
season
off.
points right now, so he's been doing great. So hopefully, definitely could see them just winning, like at a more skillful racetrack off of pure speed. Like that could very easily happen. So, I mean, seeing how everyone's running this season, there's like favorites, like there's Larson and Chastain and all that, but like a lot of cars that I didn't really expect to be competing are starting to compete, and I'm excited. It'll make this season interesting, but it was deserved.
Well, my whole take on it is, yeah, it wasn't. It was the better race of the weekend, obviously by far. There wasn't really many issues. Obviously, Chevrolet has been dominant all season, and now we finally saw a breakthrough with Ford. Toyota's still struggling though, and in my opinion, they're still trying to find their way through. But to see Ford, especially Penske and then Keselowski, all being up front and practically dominating the entire day is insane. So maybe Logano's trying to go back to back, or maybe just we're gonna get Ford versus Chevy and Toyota's going to be out of it, so they got to figure something out over in the Toyota camp. I mean, I guess it's easy since it's practically just one giant team that's Toyota, but it's really tough to say. The race quality, though, yeah, just it was better in terms of there was no issues compared to trucks and Xfinity with the crashing and stuff like that. But you have, Logano win. That was pretty shitty if you wanted Corey LaJoy to win because there was so much hype built around him, and then obviously the joke being that Chase Elliott isn't there to screw him over this time. A lot of people were making jokes about that, including Corey himself. So sucks to see that he missed out on it, but it's obviously good to see Spires growing and especially around him. So it's going to be cool to see how that team flows through the rest of the season. Call me crazy, but I've got my ice cold takes. Corey LaJoy is going to be in the playoffs.
I'm with you on that one.
That's actually a take that I think most people in this call right now agrees.
Well, well, the thing is, I find it funny because I've never really cared for Corey LaJoy in a sense, like as like someone that watches as a fan, like, from a fan's perspective. I've just never really seen anything appealing about Corey LaJoy to be a fan of him for. But to see what he's doing with that organization and kind of growing with it and always being, just with these underfunded teams, it is cool to see that the small little team and Corey are working their way up the ladder. It's just odd to see the 77 is where it's at. So
yeah, I think the whole playoff take is very on point because his average finish this year, I actually saw it earlier. It's a 15.2. Last season for him, which was his best average all like in his career, was a 24. Yeah. So
they're definitely going places.
It's early in the season, but he's made major moves, and I am happy to see that Spire's moving up. Ty Dillon is getting kind of exposed.
Well, didn't that happen last year? Didn't that happen last year? Hasn't that happened like his entire career? I didn't say that. Anywho, Saudi Arabia for F1. What some would say is one of the most, or has been one of the more entertaining races as of the past seasons. I don't think it lived up to that. But I don't know. Tyler, your go on this?
I thought it was an okay race. There wasn't really much going on up front. Other than the fact that I had the podium not predicted, then I had it, then I didn't. We kind of went back and forth on that, but I'm glad that the FIA reversed that call on Alonso because when he serves it on lap 18, you have, I don't even know how many laps were in the race, but you have that many laps to look at how he served it and then go do something different or like come back in. But they didn't, so that was they kind of screwed him on that one. But I'm glad they gave that back, because at the end of the day, he deserved it. Alonso has been, in my opinion, the word of the season so far. He's been the guy to watch. I don't know if Aston Martin has winning pace yet, but even if they don't, they have turned that team around. Even Lance Stroll has done pretty good. So I wouldn't say that it was the most exciting race so far. It definitely wasn't. I think as far as Jeddah goes, I think it's been, compared to last year's, it wasn't near it at all in excitement, but good battles through the midfield, lots of diving into turn one and making passes. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, a bit of a snoozer for Saudi Arabia, surprisingly. I kind of thought maybe this would be the day where Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez would have like the greatest battle Saudi Arabia has ever seen. But then Checo just flew away because Red Bull power right now is unstoppable. They are looking like their early 2010s Sebastian Vettel Red Bull. More McLaren woes, even worse in 2014, 2015, where Fernando was just saying GP2 engine all the time. Other than that, Mercedes, they're still looking like last season where they're just running around fifth and sixth all day. Russell's doing well, not a lot better, but he's doing as well as last season, just now running for more podiums. But other than that, not much to talk about. Tim, we can't hear you.
He's not muted.
Is it where you had the headset plugged in?
Oh, that's a what?
What?
Migo? Okay. All right. So yeah, Saudi Arabia it was lackluster. Not
Oh.
much really from it. Oh, did we get him back?
I think.
Yep,
we go.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, you're back. You just want to go?
Well, let's go together.
All right. All right. So yeah, Saudi Arabia lackluster in my opinion compared to previous years. We saw Max Verstappen do Max Verstappen things, climb through the field, yada yada yada, still get up on podium, second place. Red Bull title fight. As a Perez fan, I want to see him exceed. But that 1 point gap, that's what screwed it. The fact that Verstappen got that fastest lap point is now they're gonna play the whole Checo get out of the way, your second driver, blah 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 blah. But maybe they'll let them fight it out like 2016 Mercedes got to fight it out. Just minus. Actually, what do you mean minus? They practically hate each other according to the media. So who knows? But Perez wins. I got my podium prediction right. So the birds to you, Tyler. We went back and forth with that, as you said, but yeah, I don't really have much to take out of Saudi Arabia. I think it was just kind of what we saw from Bahrain for the most part in terms of performance from drivers and teams.
Yeah, I'd hope Red Bull lets them fight it out because they are gone.
Oh yeah, already.
There's no way anyone maybe there was a glimmer of hope when Alonso got that good of a start, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna win the freaking championship. But then he got passed not even 10 laps later. But I don't know. I hope they let him fight it out because let's be real. If Verstappen didn't start 15th, he was going to win that race.
Oh yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Checo's good. He's very good.
Oh yeah. It's just Verstappen. The thing that they've noticed or that people have called out with Red Bull for multiple years is the whole thing that Red Bull caters the car to Verstappen's driving style. And that's why I would even say in 2020, put Perez in that car because he can at least match that driving style for most tracks. So I feel like that's also why we see Perez is neck and neck with Verstappen on occasion, and then there will just be a race where he is down the grid. But they both have that similar driving style, but I still think Verstappen gets that edge, and I wonder if that's to do with age, maybe. You think experience would be a helpful part, but because we look at Alonso, he's doing something this year, but it's really tough to kind of figure it out. But I feel like with the car being catered to Verstappen, I do feel like that's the case. He's going to get the upper hand regardless of what happens.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to like just picture in my head if there was a car that was like perfectly catered to like both of their driving styles, like who would win? I would still take Verstappen,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. It's interesting. I hope that Perez is able to like keep it close, but like I look at Bahrain for example, Verstappen was gone
Yeah.
like 9 or 11 seconds, one of the two.
Yeah.
It was far.
It's.
So.
I think it's going to be one of those things where boys have at it after they just have a check mark on how far of a lead they have. I feel like it will probably be something after Monaco, like just determining on where they're at in points. If they're still close after that, just let them have at it.
It just depends because Alonso will just keep getting the P3s.
Exactly.
No one else is going to get it. It's
I think Russell's capable of doing it at some point. I feel like Mercedes is going to eke it out at some point. But Russell is just he's carrying that team on his back because it's weird to see how Hamilton kind of just like fell apart. But I feel like that's also because, we went into last year, we saw the struggling Mercedes team, and I don't think Lewis really understood how to drive with a underperforming car. Because that's like the first time in his career that he's ever had that issue.
I feel like he's on a farewell tour. He's just, I think he's more like, I don't know, I guess
he's retiring without wanting to say he is.
He's just, I feel like he's more just like, I don't know, enjoying it more than just like, I don't know if that makes sense, but like he's taking the foot off a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. But to get off F1, because I don't think there is much else to talk about regarding that. Last week we left off, or right after we recorded the podcast, the following day when we posted it, it was announced from NASCAR that Hendrick and Colleague did get penalties for the part. I already forgot the name of the part.
Louver.
Yeah. And I believe both teams protested it, with the same story being that the developer, the part, or the company that they have to get the parts from, courtesy of NASCAR, they were like too big or something, and they had to modify them to fit the car. But with two teams saying that, it's kind of odd. 5 total cars, 2 different teams. It's weird how that happens. Why isn't that happening with any other team? And why is a company that's supposed to be making parts strictly for these NASCAR teams making wrong-sized parts? So it's kind of a toss-up. But I think both Hendrick and Colleague are appealing. I'm not sure, but what's your guys' take on it?
I'm still in the same boat as last week. I have no damn clue what a louver does. I don't know. I just
It's
know
the
that
vent on the hood.
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't know, other than I feel like it just gives more airflow to something. Whether it makes, I don't know. It's a vent in the car on the hood. I will say that I'm glad that it kind of remained consistent with what we saw Brad get, even though it's a totally different part. I don't remember what Brad on Brad's car that they modified. I think they just fixed something and swapped. I don't even know what they did, but I want to say they got the same exact fine and points penalty that they ended up getting, which last year we saw it completely take Brad Keselowski out of contention to make the playoffs without a win. So it's going to be huge. Obviously, they're Hendrick Motorsports. They're going to win races. So I don't think it's the same struggle that we're going to see that we saw Brad have. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's very odd that it's 2 different teams, but they're also both Chevys. So I don't know. It's weird. And I want to say that on the Colleague car, they only took one of them.
I thought I heard that too.
So at that point, is it an inconsistency that is in the manufacturing shop, like you said, or did they mess something up? But then again, I feel like it's a machine, so it's going to do it the right way. It's just odd. This whole situation's just weird. The fact that it's a louver as well, like it's not something that's a little bit more effective to the car, at least as far as I know. But yeah, it's a weird situation.
Wait, so was it all for?
It was all for Hendrick and then just Justin Haley.
That is, yeah.
Which, speaking
Yeah.
of which, even after Atlanta, Justin Haley is still in negative points. I'd like to point that out.
Man.
Point.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's not good. Go colleague.
Fabian?
Yeah, I just think that maybe the social media intern just snuck into the manufacturing department and just messed something up. Who knows? Maybe that's my guessing. But with that bad of an inconsistency in manufacturing the parts, we don't know unless we're right behind the scenes on what the hell happened at Hendrick and colleague, or what happened between transferring the parts from the manufacturing department to the teams. But it's all just speculation right now. So I have no clue.
Yeah. The only thing that gets me is that, okay, if it was just the Hendrick cars, there is kind of an argument, like the tiniest bit of an argument, like, okay, it all happened to one team. The argument goes both ways, whether they did something or they all received it a certain way. But the fact that you throw in Justin Haley and not AJ Allmendinger, like it was just the 30, that kind of, that makes it a lot more like suspicious, because if it was one team and not the other, like I'm surprised the 16 didn't get a penalty for it. So
Yeah, that's what I don't get either. But I'm looking at the points right now, like the playoff picture after Atlanta. Obviously, Byron's locked in because he got the 2 wins. So there's nothing for him to worry about. But you have Bowman, who's currently 26 points out, sitting in 21st. You have Kyle Larson sitting 68 out with only 43 points, sitting 31st. And then Justin Haley, who is 136 out, negative 25 points, in 34th in points. And then obviously Chase Elliott nor Josh Berry got a penalty because Josh Berry doesn't run for the points. Chase Elliott still hasn't received a waiver, but the actual team received the points penalty in the owner's standings. Yeah. So it's just, it is an odd situation because, yeah, if it was just all Hendrick, then, everyone's going to say, okay, well, yeah, Hendrick obviously cheated. But the fact that it was like randomly Justin Haley and it was just that one colleague car, as you mentioned, Tim, it's hard to kind of pick apart because obviously we saw, Hendrick just dominate the hell out of Vegas, which is when they took him. But Justin Haley was kind of just hanging out where he normally does, it seemed, like in the field. And Hendrick still did what they did at Vegas and carried it over to Phoenix with no issue. But same thing with Haley. He just ran like normal. Both teams ran like normal with the part, without the part. So the question is NASCAR making an error? Is the manufacturer really making an error? Is this team's trying to experiment with things? Because we knew in 2021 how Hendrick found like 10% or like 10 more horsepower for no apparent reason. So our team's trying to think outside the box. It's hard to tell, but there's no way that both teams said the same exact thing and it be 5 cars. I don't get it. Something's odd.
I feel like they might have like talked about it, kind of get a story straight.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what I don't get is, okay, if it was like RCR and colleague, then I'd say, oh yeah, no, that totally looks suspicious. But
Because they're aligned.
Yeah, but Hendrick has nothing to do with colleague.
What gets me too is that, so they didn't take him at Vegas. They took him after the practice in Phoenix. How do you notice an advantage at practice if they're doing short runs?
Yeah.
How do you, obviously, unless they looked at it in tech or whatever, but like, and I looked it up. Apparently, lubers do something with the air, keeping it cool, keeping it fresh, which that would make sense because at that point, then that's allowing them to get more air to the engine, keeping everything cool, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But in practice, unless they saw something in Vegas and they were like, hey, let's look at this. If it's this way in tech at Phoenix, we got to take it. We'll look at it, whatnot.
Well, I don't get that though, because if it was an issue to begin with, why didn't you do anything about it at Vegas, and why'd you just let it carry over to Phoenix? That makes zero damn sense for NASCAR to do. Because if you think someone cheated and you see that something's different, then you're
you
going
want to handle it.
Yeah, you're going to handle it on the spot. But
Yeah.
is this NASCAR being inconsistent as they have before, or is it just a bunch of BS?
Just the fact, unless like even if they noticed it in tech, why wait after practice to take care of it?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense at all. And this is a big deal, and it's almost like the NASCAR script. It's got something funny written up for Hendrick,
Yeah.
but I just it doesn't make sense at all. And NASCAR handing out penalties like it's candy on Halloween. To carry forward to the Denny Hamlin penalty from Phoenix, where on the final restart he kind of just drove up into Ross Chastain, put him in the wall, and on his podcast openly admitted to doing that intentionally, basically saying, if I'm going back, you're going with me. So, was it deserved? Was it not? I mean, what's your guys' takes on it, Tyler?
I'm gonna be honest, and I hate to say this, Tim. I think it's fully deserved. I think when you do what he did, number one, I mean, if you do it at the point, I didn't see it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't see it, but I think when you do what he did, and then you get on your podcast, and then you say, I did it on purpose. Like I saw him, I was like, "You're coming with me." You can't say that, and then after the pitch, the penalty's issued, to then say, no malice, no actions detrimental to the sport. It's like, buddy, you admitted to turning right into somebody, pushing them up the racetrack, and then bringing them back with you. You intentionally, like we've seen intentional stuff get penalized. So I would say, in my opinion, it is deserved. I think looking back at it, it's like how Bush said, you got to keep your mouth shut. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see it. I don't know if you guys saw it at that point.
I didn't see it on the broadcast. I saw it afterwards when everyone was posting about it.
Like I at the broadcast didn't even know what happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that's one of those play stupid games, win stupid prizes situations. I feel like it's pretty straight cut that he kind of put himself in that spot in two ways.
The only thing I noticed on the broadcast, because obviously it's my guy, I was watching. I was like, where did he go?
He just kind of vanished.
He was like sixth, and I was like,
huh?
Why are you?
Where'd you go?
Where did he finish? Like
what is he cooking?
Was it in the?
He went to get his shingles vaccination, guys.
I gotta do some research.
As he thinks you should.
And he did the fuck run and find out strategy with like 2 to go with Chastain. I don't know why it took that long just to get some payback. Like, was he paying back from what, Gateway from last season or what?
Did you forget Pocono happened?
Did you forget the clash happened?
Did you forget a lot of things happened?
Still,
we talked about this last week.
Okay, well that's why I wasn't here.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying Fabian. That's why I'm giving him shit for it. We talked about every single incident last week, but Fabian, continue.
That was a glitch.
Yeah, I nearly forgot on what Chastain did to Hamlin and what was Hamlin retaliating for, because there's so many issues with them last year and the beginning of this year that I kind of lost track at this point. But yeah, what Ty said, play stupid games, get stupid prizes, and just like what Kawish said, don't open your mouth on stuff like that. Junior, he opened his mouth about, I think, intentionally wrecking Kyle at Michigan or Kansas. Is one of those two races. Like the season before, Kyle went to the 18, and I think he got a little fine. But yeah, on to you, Tim.
I think that he finished 23rd, by the way. His whole race just got shit on. But I love him to death, but that was not he didn't care. But something that did made me think about it. I was watching something, I think it was something on the podcast about when he got the email from NASCAR, what he got the fine, or the fine and then the penalty. And this is why he appealed it. Because originally what he said was Joe Gibbs was like, just take the penalty, just yada yada yada. And then when he got the email about what like the penalty actually was about, like when he had to pay the fine, they told him something that wasn't, I don't remember what it was, but basically they threw something in that like he didn't actually do. I don't know if that makes sense. I also don't know what point I'm trying to get here, but he's innocent from that appeal. If Byron purposely dumping the shit out of him last year, that gets overturned. Denny's. Just because he's not like a Hendrick guy doesn't mean you gotta justice for him. He's gonna win the championship this year, so you can hold him back all you want. He's that guy.
See,
This current,
what?
you go.
No, you just say it.
I was gonna say with this current format, JJ Yeley can win the championship.
That would be a W. Anyways,
I would not be upset.
Yeah, the JJ Yeley is a great human being. Anywho, Denny, in my opinion, didn't deserve it, and my reason for it is these two have gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Chastain has done a lot of shit intentionally, and obviously has kind of danced around it. Like, he won't fully admit it, but he won't deny. Like Coda, for example, he fully admitted that he intended to drive into him. He just didn't expect that outcome. But how else are you supposed to expect that outcome? You know exactly what that's gonna do. Gateway, for example, he just drove through half the field. Everyone was getting pissed off at him. I mean, yeah, NASCAR has penalized for intentional stuff before, but they've also not penalized for intentional stuff before. So with that being said, why are they still inconsistent? Why is this still a thing? We had the whole Byron thing last year. I'm a Byron fan. I like Byron, but he deserved that penalty at the end of the day. And the fact that it got overturned, it's just dodgy. Even if that wasn't intentional or not, he wrecked someone under caution. I'd say that's worse than putting someone in a wall. Wow, he put someone in a wall at lower speeds because it was a restart in turn one, and that kind of left it at that. We've seen way worse that was intentional, and that didn't get a penalty, so I don't understand what the big deal is. We didn't see a penalty. What was there? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was there a penalty with the Chase Elliott Kevin Harvick thing at the Roval?
I can't remember.
There wasn't.
There also wasn't a penalty for Elliott at Bristol when he kind of cock-blocked Harvick.
Well, the thing was that happened like 3 times in the past 2 years at that point. So NASCAR doesn't care. It's all drama, and I feel like that's something they want to feed off of. I feel like NASCAR is slowly starting to aim towards that sports entertainment type of vibe, and they've gone towards it a couple of years.
They've been there since 2014, man.
Oh yeah, they've been there, but now there's just keep knocking on the door, keep knocking, because you can build so much off advertising by, getting these feuds and all that, and I don't get it, because Denny's been one of the guys that's very outspoken about the sport as of the past 2 years. Harvick's been there, Truex has been there, McDowell's one of them. Obviously, we saw Josh Williams at Atlanta being vocal about it. There are a lot of these guys, and now it's starting to look like it's not just the veterans that are getting pissed off. So, is NASCAR shooting itself in the foot with this call and with a lot of the calls recently? I'm starting to think that they're slowly shooting themselves in the foot. They're getting that trigger ready and just...
Yeah. They know they can get away with this penalty because it's Denny, and
a lot of the fan base hates Denny.
I'm a part of the 1%ers that actually likes him. But the thing that pissed me off, how the hell, after everything that happened last season, has Ross Chastain not gotten one penalty?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm biased. I'm clearly biased.
I mean, I don't care for either driver.
But holy shit,
as a fan.
That is so ridiculous.
No, I don't blame you.
I'm so impressed about that.
And Ty and Fabian, you two are Kyle Busch fans. You've had your fair share of Kyle intentionally dumping people or getting intentionally dumped. You've been down that road, and sometimes penalties happen, sometimes they don't. It's very inconsistent.
We won't talk about the big Kyle Busch intentional wrecking moment. I don't want to talk about it. It happened. It's a while ago. Wait, okay. Something that I actually who replaced him in that Cup race? Actually, was it McDowell?
Yep.
Which one?
2010.
When he ran through Ron Hornaday.
Did he get replaced in that? I thought he was
Yeah,
just
no.
junked for the
NASCAR
race.
parked him. NASCAR.
I thought
parked
he
him.
was just junked for the race.
No, they
though.
parked him for the Cup
He got
race.
for the weekend,
Oh,
so-
I didn't know that.
They were like, yeah, no, you're not doing Cup.
Oh, I didn't.
They're like,
know
go home.
that.
It was McDowell, I'm pretty sure.
And yeah, and all that was. I mean, that wasn't even.
No, that was bad.
I mean,
That
no,
was
no, no, no,
really
no, no.
bad.
That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying like that penalty was just an oddball, because it seemed like the only reason they were penalizing him was because, oh yeah, you intentionally wrecked the guy under caution. Why didn't Byron keep his penalty? But on top of that, he's in a lower series wrecking someone that's fighting for the championship.
Let this man cook. Let this man cook.
Oh there's just a lot of flaws going on, and people keep calling out NASCAR, and whether it's drivers, fans, teams, it doesn't matter who you are. NASCAR's not going to listen, and they're going to do their own thing. Praise Brett Bodine, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on the Josh Williams situation. The original penalty, Fabian kind of talked about why he got the penalty in the first place. The one on track that led to him parking the car on the front straightaway. But he was suspended for this weekend's race. Not even a fine, just straight up suspended. And they left it at that. Alex LeBase filling in for him this weekend at Coda, which honestly isn't a bad decision for it being a road course. Wait, what?
I thought it was both. I thought he got fined also.
Nope.
Did he not?
No, because... And I feel like a reason NASCAR kind of just didn't even bother with the fine is because Hamlin said he was going to pay it. I feel like that's why they just didn't even bother. But I don't know. Tyler, what's your thoughts on the penalty or on the suspension?
So, I don't know. I feel like having him park it, I mean, it's cold. You're putting bare bone on the car. It's not going to stick. It's freezing cold in Atlanta, which is weird because we call it Hotland all the time, and this time it's freezing cold. Did he prolong the caution, as NASCAR said? Yes, but I mean, at that point, they're trying to fix it. It's just not. It's not cooperating. So I understand why they parked him, and I also understand his frustration as well, because at that point, you're doing what you can as a driver. Your team's doing what they can. It literally just falls off the car. Like, there's nothing you can do. So he's frustrated, and to a point, like, I could see NASCAR's reason to say, hey, park it. And then I can see his frustration being upset because in his eyes, he's doing what he can. I can also confirm that I was a fan of the way that he just parked it and walked off. I feel like when Kyle did the same thing at Darlington, when he got absolutely just taken out by somebody and the car was crab walking, trying to drive it through the crowd, I think we saw him do one time last year, where he like demolished a cone and almost ran somebody over.
Oh yeah.
I think that was just a PG version of that from Josh. Obviously, doing it on the racetrack, I think that's what warranted him the suspension, was because you're leaving instead of it being on pit road where it's a lot easier to get it out of there. You're on a live racetrack, so obviously it was under yellow. But yeah, I'm a fan of Josh and the way that he handled himself. I mean, he was in the NASCAR hauler for how many hours after that? At least 4
hour and a half.
Legend has it that he's still there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say man could use some Uncrustables. I saw somebody made a render. Somebody made a render about sponsoring Josh Williams, and he was like, "Yeah, I could have used a couple in the hauler." But I respect him for that, man. And it's like Tim said earlier. He didn't gain a fan, or he hasn't gained fans by winning or doing anything great. But the way that he did it, he was kind of like, "I'm not a fan of your penalty, and I'm gonna make life harder for you." So I enjoyed it.
Fabian.
Oh,
I was like, "What are you doing, buddy?" It's like, I'm
all
done.
this back and forth. I thought Jake was gonna go on to another topic. Yeah, like I said earlier, that Josh Williams situation has garnered him a lot of fans. I mean, his followers on Twitter doubled over the past weekend just because of that, and he's probably gonna get a couple new sponsors, a lot more eyes on him when he comes back to the car, and yeah, understandable rule, but a very stupid way to assess the penalty, because there is another way to assess the penalty, which is just send it down pit road and just keep it down for a lap. But to immediately park him was just, I think, way too quick of judgment. But overall, W for Josh Williams. Onto you, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, we already touched on it earlier, but I do agree. Where was I going with this? Oh my gosh, it was something that Jake said that like I agreed with. Yeah, okay, I remember. Sticking it to NASCAR is like, it's great, especially with all the stuff they've been on this year, just inconsistencies. Like with people are getting pissed off with all the cautions that might not be necessary. And then just not throwing it sometimes. It's just that inconsistent penalties. It's great to see someone just give him the bird. But is the suspension justified? Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't think he should have gotten parked, but I think NASCAR was already super pissed off because most of the race up to that time had been under yellow. And they just wanted to keep the race going. And if there was just a shit box on the track, or what they would call a shit box, I could see why they would want to park it. But I mean, I loved every second of it.
Like, yeah, I'd have to agree. I love the way he handled it. Obviously, he shouldn't have been in that situation. He shouldn't have been parked. There was no reason NASCAR should have given him the penalty. I do think, though, that the only reason that rule exists is because of people intentionally, Robbie Gordon ripping the foam out of the door, throwing it out on the track, caused a caution. Carl Edwards throwing water bottles at his car. It's stuff like that, and I could understand parking someone for that, but it's not. This wasn't his fault. This wasn't his crew's fault. That it was cold. That stuff's not going to stick. So the fact that he got parked over something that no one under any circumstance can prevent was just stupid, in my opinion. It was a terrible way for NASCAR to handle it, and I can understand Josh's situation and hell, even the team, because the team even supported him through the decision. Like, you're a small team. What do you have to lose? You show up, you run around in like the mid 20s. Sometimes get higher than that if you're lucky, but it people are tired of it, and it shows. It's continuing to show. It doesn't matter if you're a guy running for wins each week or a guy running around, just trying to earn the checks each month. Like, it's tiring. No matter who you are involved with the sport. But yeah, the suspension is deserved for the circumstances, but it should have never escalated to what it was in the first place.
Agree with that.
But I don't know. The last thing we have to talk about is COTA. All three series visit the Circuit of the Americas this weekend. So with that being said, the predictions across all three. Tyler, your go.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction for the truck series. Kyle Busch is running this week. Not biased at all. Kyle Busch takes the truck race. I'm gonna go a little unorthodox. Ty Gibbs is running the Xfinity race this weekend. I think he's gonna be a contender. I think he's gonna win. For the Cup Series, though, I'm gonna go even further offhand, and I'm gonna say Austin Cindric.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the same thing for trucks, but for Xfinity, I'm gonna go way out of the groove and just say Eric Almirola in the 08 car for this weekend. And in Cup, AJ Allmendinger will win.
Yeah. Trucks, I'd probably go Zane Smith just because I don't know. I just have that feeling he'll be Kyle Busch. Xfinity, I don't know. There are so many people that are like leeching this race. I'm gonna stick with my championship pick this season. Brandon Jones. Literally no reason for it.
Just going at it.
He's been horrible this season, but he will do good. He's been all right, but he's gotten bad luck. But I think just because why the hell not, he'll win. And then Cup, I don't know. I think Probably AJ Allmendinger also.
Why is there someone at my front door at 7:30 p.m.? So, meanwhile, ignore the dog barking. But I'm gonna read off Connor's picks since he wasn't able to be on the podcast tonight. He goes Kyle Busch with trucks, Byron with Xfinity, and Allmendinger for Cup. Not terrible picks at all. For me though, let me look at this truck lineup. Yada yada yada. Alex Bowman.
Oh, I forgot he was even racing.
Alex Bowman. Why the hell is Ed Jones in the truck? Anyways, Xfinity race. I feel like it would be easy to say, Allmendinger or Gibbs win, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Sammy Smith wins. I feel like that will be kind of the because we saw how he was at Watkins Glen last year. You know, he showed he has something for the road courses, but I mean that just may be a Watkins Glen thing. But I don't know. I feel like it would be too easy to say Gibbs or Allmendinger. So yeah, I'm just gonna go Sammy Smith on that. As for Cup, I feel like I feel like AJ does get it. I get what he lost last year. I mean, no harm, no foul. What does he have to lose this year except get wrecked again?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. What the hell are these apps on the side? Anyway.
I'm gonna make a quick change actually. I'm gonna do a quick pivot. I'm gonna say Chris Buescher for Cup, actually.
Oh.
I feel like just because he's good on road courses and RFK's actually been doing very well this season. I could see that very easily happening because last year when they weren't doing too amazing, he still got like second at Sonoma, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easily doable and he's good at road courses.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this will be a fun thing for us to do. Out of all these open wheel guys, and then Jimmy Johnson popping in for this week. Actually, I'm not even going to count Johnson in this. The open wheel guys, Daly, Raikkonen, and Button. Out of those three, who do you guys think finishes the best? Tyler?
Raikkonen probably, and I'm going to give my reason for this. I know that the 15, they're saying it's a storehouse car at the end of the day. I don't think that really matters much. Jensen Button hasn't had NASCAR experience. Connor Daly has, but the money team barely qualified for the 500 even then. They only did it because I think the 62 got absolutely destroyed. And Trackhouse has proven, I mean, Watkins Glen for Kimmy, I think it ended in a wreck for him. But at that point, like up until that point, he was doing pretty solid. So I think Kimmy's going to be pretty good this weekend.
I'm going to say Jordan Taylor. And
I forgot about that.
I see when Cup drivers do starts in a Rolex 24, they either go for two classes, either what's now GTP or GTD. And since Jordan Taylor is a GTD driver, I feel like he's going to have somewhat of an edge over maybe Jensen Button or Kimi Räikkönen.
That was good reasoning too. I still think Kimmy, just going off of what Ty said, he was doing very well. Like, I don't know if when like his incident happened, if he was in the top 10, but I know he was for a decent chunk of the race. He was in the top 10, or for at least for a little bit of it. I think just because Button doesn't have experience, Jordan Taylor, this is his first start too, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the money team just being the money team, literally the money team, they're a cash grab because there's no way in hell I would say that they're competing. Yeah, Kimmy gets it.
Well, yeah, I guess it's easy to say Kimmy because obviously he has the experience. Coda, last F1 win there. But I don't know. I want to say.
Here comes the cold take, guys. Here we go. This is where we judge him every week. It's the last thing he says. Here we go.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to say Button, but then again, last week I was gonna say he wouldn't qualify. So I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real. Fabian mentioned Jordan Taylor. I think it's hard to bet against Jordan Taylor. Obviously, with the GT experience, he's in a Hendrick car, a team that's won there. Can you bet against it, really? Not really. I feel like he's got the equipment, the team, and close enough experience to kind of have an upper hand. He'll go toe-to-toe with Kimi, I feel. I feel like Kimi will be towards top 10. I feel like Jordan will be the same way. I don't see either of them finishing top 10. That's my bold take. I feel like the highest of them will be Jordan finishing like 15th. But I don't know. Don't think any of them kind of show themselves in the winning picture for the weekend. And if they do, then guess I'm getting roasted next week. With that being said, geez, we have recorded for an hour. This is
a long one.
Yeah, this
I mean, we had a lot to talk
Yeah,
about.
there
We
was a
had
lot to talk about, and
massive
we got through it a
penalties.
lot. You know, we kind of had our little debates about stuff. So
There was
little bit of
one thing
action
we didn't
packed.
talk about.
Why do you have to do this to me?
12 hours of Sebring.
Nope, get out of here. We're not talking about that. We don't talk about IMSA on here because no one knows what the hell we're talking about half the time.
But God, I
Those
love
two
it.
didn't watch it. Yeah. Okay, Fabian, let's agree. The race was good. We both or you watched all 12 hours. I watched like 8. People trying to steal body parts off the Porsche after the race, that's funny.
That's the one thing I
Wait,
saw.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, just a Porsche sitting on a flatbed and just some fan reaching over the fence trying to rip the front bumper off.
I will say, mildly impressive how hard he was tugging. That thing did not move.
Oh, yeah.
It was committed.
I mean, shit. He tried.
Maybe NASCAR needs to go to them about having debris cautions because that shit coming off.
Well,
Ain't nothing coming off.
What I find funny is, I've said this before, IndyCar will literally have like a giant chunk of wing sitting in the middle of the track, not call a caution. NASCAR sees like a fucking wrapper on the track and they're like, oh, call the caution.
I think just for one race, you need to swap IndyCar officials and NASCAR officials to see
Let's
how
go,
different
Max
both races
Pappas,
are.
baby. We need Max Pappas running the show in NASCAR. That's what we need.
What a great time.
Max Slappus, should he be known as. I don't know. Anything else we left out or need to talk about, add on?
Final 15 minutes of 12 hours of Sebring.
Shut. I'm muting you. I'm
No.
muting you. No, bye. All right. Nevertheless, wait, what, Tyler?
Only other thing that I can think of is Optic Gaming sponsoring Corey LaJoy, which is kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's very different, honestly.
That is, yeah.
I mean, we saw NASCAR Heat Pro League stickers on the car, but that was NASCAR related. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. It's nice seeing some new sponsors in the sport.
Oh, one more thing, Derek Krause.
Oh shoot!
wow.
Wow, how did we forget that one? Okay, this has been a controversial one on social media, and I love every second about it. I've been one of the trollers that's kind of had a fun time with it because I'll just kick it off with this one. I personally enjoy the idea of Derek Krause being on Colleague. I think it will be a nice little duo. I feel like Colleague is starting to find a younger driver that they need to develop alongside Justin Haley. We saw what they did with Justin Haley. They helped out his career massively. I feel like they're going to try to do the same with Derek Krause. And people have this bad image of Derek Krause because he likes some post. I don't know the full story, but I know it was a little controversial. May have been a little phobic in some sense.
Oh, Derek.
I guess he's a prick on iRacing, according to a lot of people. I don't have iRacing. I'm not so sure about that, but I'll take it for what it is. People still hate him over Knoxville, where he led damn near half the race, got screwed over by a caution, decided I'm going to run over the field now to get to the front. So people are still mad about that. Who cares? He deserved to make it into Xfinity Series. He got so close to winning in trucks, and just shit would go wrong all the time. I think he'll do something. Richmond is his first start with Colleague. I could see him finishing top 15. realistically. But I feel like if they do give him a full-time ride next year, or just more starts throughout the year, I do feel like we'll see him grow with the program. But Tyler?
I'm not really opposed at all, or I'm not. Derek Kraus is just kind of there. He exists. I think after seeing what Kyle did in the car, I think the 10 car needs as much data from as many people as it can get. Because when you put Kyle Busch in an Xfinity car and he struggles that bad, there's something wrong.
10 car is not good.
Yeah, there's something wrong. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking on Colleague at all. Colleague with the 16 and the 11 have hit out of the ballpark every year. I mean, Daniel Hemrick has been up front quite often. AJ Allmendinger damn near won a championship in the 16 last year, but saw the same thing with Landon Castle. There's
something wrong with the 10.
They have to figure out what it is, and it's not even a coincidence at this point.
Yeah. Like it's possible. It's possible to win when it was entering like 3 races a year. I feel like full time, 3 full-time cars in Xfinity. You know, they tried getting that 4th part-time one last year, but they cut that out because obviously the 10's their part-time car now because Castle lost the sponsorship because Voyager did the funny, which I'm still upset about and dying inside. And then obviously having the 2 full-time Cup cars and then the part-time being the 3rd. They've got so much weight on their shoulders, and for being a team that kind of came out of nowhere and did all this within a short amount of time, they've got a huge resume behind them, and multiple trophies to speak for it. Multiple championship contentions. Obviously, having a championship driver on the team with Daniel Hemrick. It's something I don't get it with the 10 car because they have done everything to that team to try fixing something. And if you put Kyle Busch in it, you put Landon Castle in it, you put Jeb Burton. Jeb Burton won in it when it was full time, but that was a rain shortened race. No, not discrediting him, but when that's the only full time race it's won, something's going on with that 10 car. I don't get it. What about you two, Tim, Fabian? Do you have anything to throw in?
I don't know why I was waiting on Ty to say something, but yeah, I just feel like that 10 car isn't as developed or looked upon by Colleague as like the 16 or the 11 or any other car like in Cup. Because I feel like the last time the 10 car had a big name in it was Ross Chastain when he got his comeback after being booted from Chip Ganassi
and he didn't
after
even
the
win.
DC Solar pardon.
And Chastain didn't even win in that full-time season.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hell, didn't he miss out on a race? Didn't he miss Daytona? Like he didn't even qualify for it? Because he had to drive the 38, right?
Yeah, because they literally took all the nutrient sponsorship and put it on the 38.
Yeah. So I it doesn't add up. What is wrong with the 10 car?
I feel like a good comparison. Actually, I don't know. Just because Cole Custer's kind of not doing great, but like a good comparison is like the SHR 41,
or like
post
or like Suarez in the 19 or Jones in the 20. It was just kind of like
no, because that's like those rides got fixed, and Jones was don't diss Jones.
No, I'm not dissing. I'm saying the car.
He's a championship contender anywhere. But anyway, no, it's like the thing is, even with like Suarez in the 19, like you put Truex in, he won 7 races first season in it.
Yeah.
I
mean, hell, Edwards almost won the title the season prior.
Yeah. So that was just Daniel Suarez, but he's good now. But look at I don't know, look at the 41 post Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
Suarez and then Custer. Not really
now,
much.
Now Preece even.
Yeah, Preece. I mean,
Preece looked promising in the Clash, and then we haven't really seen much of hell. We haven't seen much of SHR at all, besides Harvick.
But like 4 races, that's a small sample size, so give Preece the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know. I feel like that's a decent comparison because the 10 car, if Kyle Busch, he ran good with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen good runs out of the 10. We saw a few with Castle, like Loudon, for example. That was one that kind of just was like, what the hell is this? To a lot of people, like, why is Castle fighting for the win at Loudon? Because he never really had good stats at Loudon to begin with, and the fact that he was just kind of chilling up there, Didn't make sense. Obviously, we saw him with a good finish at Martinsville. Dega, he finished what, third or something? Like, so the 10 car is capable of being up there, but it's just random ass occasions.
Yeah.
But
No.
I don't know.
Weird.
Maybe we'll see something change. Hopefully we do. Then again, you kind of look at it. The only time we've seen a stable sponsor with the 10 was when Chastain was in it, and it was Nutrien. When Jeb was in it, obviously he had multiple races unsponsored, and switching between sponsors. We saw like LS Tractors and a few others.
Burning Rubber Podcast.
Burning Rubber Podcast. Like Castle, he had Voyager for most of the schedule, but that company kind of did its own little thing and killed itself. But now we're seeing this year. I mean, hell, Hemrick didn't have a sponsor for Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
His car was literally just the Chevy parts basic car. So who knows? I mean, putting these all-star guys like Dylan and Bush in the car, they're going to see sponsors. But I don't even know if Kraus has a sponsor. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him running around in a Chevy car, because obviously he's got some problems with some controversy. I don't know, but it's going to be hard to tell.
Yeah, I will say it is not a very good look that as soon as he left the 19 team in the truck series, Eckes took over and is just like
leading the points, winning a race.
Yeah. And it sucks to see, because Kraus got close multiple times. He just couldn't keep the consistency, I guess.
He was like, I mean, when he was good, he was really good.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I feel like compare him to, like, I don't know. I'd like to say if he does good, compare him to Harrison Burton. Like, because he didn't do amazing in trucks. But, like, let's say Kraus does good in Xfinity. Maybe it's just the trucks that are just an outlier. Because, I mean, remember K&N, he won like 7 races in a championship.
Exactly. Same team, too, BMR.
Yeah, so he knows how to drive. So I feel like...
Yeah, maybe it's just a truck thing. Who knows? Well, time will tell. I don't know. Aside from that, does anyone else have anything else to pitch in? Nothing?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, after one of our longer podcasts in quite a while, well, if that's everything to leave off, thank you all for tuning in today for the episode. Obviously, we have our Raja Karuth interview. Me and Stotts getting to interview him. That will be posted this Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out for that. But nevertheless, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys Friday and, well, next week. So, goodbye, everybody.